My name is John Bielenson. I am president of SCP. We are a socially responsible communications and public relations firm working with nonprofit organizations, foundations, and government agencies. And we're located just outside of Philadelphia in Wayne, PA. And I became interested in working with power and with the social justice organizing that power is involved with, in particular following the presidential election in 2016. At that time, I was incredibly concerned and for me, sort of surprisingly affected by the rhetoric that Donald Trump used, particularly around immigrants and immigration. And it brought up for me the truth of my story and my family's history in this country, which is that my mother and my grandparents came to this country in 1941 as refugees, as immigrants themselves, and fleeing the Nazis from Germany and then France. And while again, I personally have not lived the experience of a refugee or an immigrant myself, I realized following this hateful rhetoric and the threats that the ICE actions and other deportation actions are taking place, that in fact I was, that my mother and my family and potentially I could have easily been in that situation just one generation previous, and that today that all of us need to be much more vigilant about protecting folks who have immigrated to this country and who are documented or undocumented, and to ensure that we continue to make America a welcoming place, a place where people like my family have been able to make a life for themselves and to continue to make contributions to what could be and should be a more perfect union, a more powerful and a more just country. My name is John Bielenson. I'm president of SCP. We're a socially responsible communications and public relations firm that works with a variety of nonprofit organizations, foundations, and government agencies to help them use communications to create social good. And my commitment to this work, which is ultimately a lifelong professional commitment, began, I think, with the work and the experience and the example of my father, Nick Bielenson, who in the 1960s was a New York City lawyer, but who, after seeing the images of the civil rights movement on TV, decided that he wanted to do something about that work and participate in that work, not by going down to the South, in part because he had 3 small children under 5 in the mid-60s, but to work to use his legal training and his ability to start a fair housing organization called Westchester Residential Opportunities in Westchester County, New York, again, where I grew up. And WRO, as it's called, helped people of color and continues to help people of color and others find housing and get second mortgages and get services that they need to become homeowners in the county. And indeed, the work of WRO and others, and my dad, helped serve to integrate Westchester County during the course of the last, actually ultimately now 5 decades. So it's really his experience, his example, that helped put me on this path to working for social justice, and that path has led me to power here in Philadelphia, where I continue to work with this tremendous community to make Philadelphia and Pennsylvania a fairer and more just place.